This is part 2 of the BYD Seagull up close in 4K quality control check video. That's what I call it anyway, the quality control check videos, where I go right up to all of the little things like bolts and the suspension and under the bonnet in the engine bay and the interior, and I try to really give you a good sense of what it's like in real life, the car. There are a couple of things that you wouldn't expect to see at all, and in my opinion, I think this part 2 video is more interesting than the first part. So normally I make EV news videos, but every now and then I make these videos. So check out my other videos and feel free to subscribe if you enjoy them. So I've seen worse fit and finish on cars that cost 3 or 4 times as much, maybe 5 times as much actually, naming no names. The point being that BYD have really nailed this car. It's super cheap and they're still making a profit. That's pretty fantastic. The paint on BYD is always excellent. They're a fantastic car to be in, and although they do have a few quirks at times here and there, for example the BYD Shark used to call the on the screen in front of you, it would say Sandy Land or Muddy Land, and then they eventually changed that in the latest update, so it just says mud or sand, that sort of thing. So yeah, I've seen worse fit and finish on much more expensive cars than this. I think it's very good. There's a couple of quirks. They generally represent some of the best value on the market, in my opinion. And I've talked about the BYD Seagull in the first part, and that was a bit more in depth than this. But this is a bit of a pro and con list, I suppose. This one is basically just a simple list of the things that I can see that are really good and the things that I can see that are really not so good, as opposed to an actual big formal list. So yeah, the first part will be listed in the description, so you can go watch that. In general, the good or bad things that I saw with the Seagull are thusly. So the good bits first, obviously. The paint, always amazing on BYDs, no exception. The only thing, they always, just like every manufacturer these days, seem to cheap out and they don't put clear coat on the back of the bonnet. For no good reason. That is only a negative, that is not a positive, and they took it into a spray booth and did all the other stuff and then just refused to spray the other side with that, with the pretty shiny stuff is basically what you could call it. So the interior, incredible, really incredible, especially when it feels like you have paid peanuts for it. It would likely feel quite surreal. I think some people with BYDs have kind of sensed that already. It kind of feels like you've got too good a car for the price you paid. It's priced super well. It's currently now in, if you were to convert it into euros, in China, about 7,000 euros on the road, maybe 7,100 depending on your country you're in Europe. So can you imagine that? If you could buy that in Europe now, like if you're in Holland right now or Germany and you could go get this car with for 7,000 euro, that would be crazy. And yeah, that's why they're making these new gigafactories, such as the one in Hungary, such as the one in Spain, so they can service the European market, and also the one in China, which is larger than Tesla's largest by 11 times, and also a little bit larger than San Francisco. And it's a car factory, bigger than an entire city. So the larger battery has full thermal management on it, such as proper cooling using the air conditioning, or HVAC system I should say, or the AC, when it is too warm, so you could drive it to Greece and park it up and it would cool the battery, which is great, instead of just letting the heat come out of the tarmac and then upwards into the battery pack and expecting passive cooling, which is basically no cooling at all, to cool that down when you're not driving it. The cheapest version of the two versions doesn't come with any thermal management. It's entirely passive. Hello folks, my name is Ben Alexander. Thank you very much for joining me for part 2. Today I just hit 10,000 subscribers. That's pretty crazy, so thank you very much. So there is going to be a celebration video coming up quite soon. That means a lot, so thank you very much. And yeah, thank you very much as well to all the people that keep going back. There were loads of people, Catherine Grimes and Daryl, and Girl. And there's just you know, quite a few people that I see all the time commenting, and yeah, that's quite touching. So thank you very much for, you know, I don't take your time for granted. So there is also a member section as well. You are welcome to join either of the 2 tariffs. If you think this is a good video, feel free to check that out. Feel free to like it or comment. And yeah, you're very welcome to share this video in one of the groups that you're in on Facebook perhaps. The body and frame is treated in exactly the same way as Toyota cars are, with zinc coating, just to get that out of the way. That is obviously a big thing. That stops them rusting, and this sort of thing is actually written in a lot of the globe's laws, quite frankly, in the Western world anyway. For example, there's a brand being sued currently in Australia because the cars are rusting a little bit too early, and they sold them in such a way as to suggest they will not rust if you were to use them or get them wet, for example. So that's going on right now. The suspension is pretty basic on the Seagull, but fine. A little bit soft, but not too bad. The brakes, better than you think. Definitely quite bitey and grabby, and feel like they're going to do a good job. The lights are fantastic, and the screen is pretty good. Not as good as the Dolphin, but good. And you know, it's a pretty good complex bit of kit still for you know, fitted in a car. It's pretty nice to see that it has so many options on it. So some of the bad things I can notice are the power is quite limp, but that's to be expected, of course. It's quick enough. The tyres are a little bit Chinesey, not very grippy often. It is said they're a bit lacking in that department, in the grip department, which is, if we're honest, their only job. The back seats don't go very flat. I think that's a big one for me personally. I do drive a lot. I drive on, you know, long road trips. I like to kip in the car sometimes. A lot of people will want to buy one who are young, and they'll want to sleep in it. But I think the main downside, is the one that people will mostly buy, you know, would be the cheapest one. And that's the one that has no thermal battery thermal management on it at all. So feel free as well to let me know what you think of this of it in the comments, the BYD Seagull, and feel free to join as a member. That would be awesome because it helps me make the videos. And yeah, thank you very much.